Most of the creators who are trying to be on 5 platforms right now will quit in the next 6 months. And not because they are not talented, but because they're doing the one thing that guarantees burnout, trying to be everywhere at once. Before we get into which platform you should pick, let me give you something that will help you make that decision. I built a free quiz that tells you exactly what type of burnout you're dealing with. Whether it's creative burnout, financial stress, algorithm anxiety, boundary issues, or growth overwhelm. And the reason this matters for today's video is that if you're burned out from being on too many platforms, the quiz will help you figure out which platform is actually worth keeping and which ones you can walk away from without feeling guilty about it. So if you're trying to figure out where to focus your energy, take the quiz first. It will make the rest of this video way more actionable because you will know exactly what you're optimizing for. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description. Alright, let's talk about why I'm betting everything on YouTube. I've watched people quitting over and over again. They start out really motivated, posting on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and Twitter or X, and then 3 months in, they're exhausted. Nothing's really taking off and they just stop. So I want to talk about why I'm doing the opposite. Why I'm only building on YouTube right now, what I've learned from watching people succeed by focusing versus watching people fail by spreading thin, and how you can figure out which platform is actually worth your time. I think we need to start with where this whole be on every platform idea even came from. Because I'm pretty sure most of us didn't come up with it ourselves. We absorbed it from someone who was already successful telling us that this is the way we are supposed to do it. And the person I remember hearing this from the most was Gary Vee, with the whole document don't create thing, where you're supposed to post 50 times a day across every platform and just see what sticks. And look, I have nothing against Gary Vee. That strategy clearly worked for him. But what I think people miss is that Gary Vee has a whole team helping him do that, and also his brand is literally about hustle. So of course his strategy is going to be maximum volume across every channel. When I was working with clients, doing content marketing and managing their social media, I watched so many people try to replicate that strategy and just completely burn themselves out because they didn't have a team of 15 people. They were doing it alone or maybe with one part-time editor. What would happen is they'd start posting everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. And for the first few weeks, they would feel really productive. Like they were hustling, like they were doing what successful people do. But then a month in, and they would realize they were spending all their time just managing the logistics of posting, resizing videos, rewriting captions for each platform, trying to remember which hashtags work where, learning 5 different algorithms. And they weren't actually creating anything they were proud of. I worked with one client who came to me completely exhausted because she was trying to maintain a presence on 6 different platforms. And when we actually looked at her analytics together, 5 of those platforms were giving her basically nothing. Like, she would post something on Twitter and get 8 likes, post on Instagram and get 2 comments from bots, post on TikTok and maybe get a few hundred views that didn't lead anywhere. The only platform that was actually working was LinkedIn. But she was spending maybe 15% of her time on LinkedIn and 85% of her time on platforms that didn't matter because she thought she was supposed to be everywhere. And when I asked her, what if you just focused on LinkedIn and stopped posting on the other 5? She looked at me like I was telling her to give up. Like quitting those platforms meant she was failing. But she wasn't failing, she was just exhausted from trying to do 5 things badly instead of one thing really well. So here's what I noticed from working with different clients and also from my own experience trying to build an audience. The people who actually succeed pick one platform and go deep on it before they even think about expanding. And when I say go deep, I don't just mean posting regularly. I mean they actually learn how that platform works, what their audience wants on that platform, what format performs best, how to optimize the content for that specific algorithm. And I think that's the thing people don't realize. Being on multiple platforms doesn't multiply your results. it divides your attention. And divided attention means you never get good enough at any one thing to actually break through. When I started Creator Recovery, I looked at what I've seen work for other creators and clients and what I've seen failing. And the pattern was really clear. Focus wins, spreading thin loses. And that's why I'm only on YouTube right now. Not because I don't think Instagram or TikTok could work eventually, but because I know that if I try to do all the three at once, I will just be mediocre at all of them. And mediocre doesn't build anything. Okay, so let me talk about why I picked YouTube specifically, because I think the logic might help you figure out which platform you should focus on. The first reason is that YouTube rewards long-form content. And I'm good at long-form content. I spent 5 years working on cruise ships, filming and editing TV segments. I understand pacing and storytelling and how to keep people watching for more than 30 seconds. So for me, it made sense to go with a platform that actually values that skill instead of trying to force myself into short-form content that I don't really enjoy making and that honestly I'm not that good at. The second reason is that YouTube content actually lasts. A video I posted today could still be getting views 6 months from now, a year from now, even 5 years from now, if it's evergreen enough. That compounding effect matters to me because I don't want to be on a treadmill where I have to post every single day just to stay visible. I want to build a library of content that works for me even when I'm not actively posting. The third reason is that YouTube lets me actually build a business. I can link to my quiz in the description. I can link to my email list. I can eventually sell something, and YouTube doesn't penalize me for doing that the way Instagram or TikTok might. So it's not just about building an audience, it's about building an audience that I can actually monetize and turn into something sustainable. And the fourth reason, which I think is the most important for me personally, is that my target audience is on YouTube. Creators who are burned out, who want systems, who are thinking long-term about their careers, those people are watching YouTube. They're not really on TikTok. So even if TikTok could get me more views in the short term, those views wouldn't be from the right people. And views from the wrong people don't actually help you build a business or anything sustainable. Now, your reason might be completely different. Maybe you're great at short-form content and TikTok is where you should focus. Or maybe your audience is on LinkedIn, or maybe Instagram is genuinely the best fit for you on what you do. I'm not saying YouTube is the right answer for everyone. I'm saying pick the platform that matches your strength, your content style, and your actual target audience. And then commit to it for long enough to actually get good at it. And yes, to be fair, I do repurpose my YouTube content into shorts for TikTok and Instagram. But that takes me 10 to 20 minutes and I'm not monitoring anything there. I'm not checking the analytics, I'm not adjusting strategy, I'm not on that treadmill. YouTube is the engine. Everything else is just free distribution. I've been doing YouTube for a bit now, first on my other channel and now here. Just YouTube, nothing else. And I want to share what I'm learning because I think it might be useful for anyone who is thinking about narrowing their focus. The first thing I've noticed is that I'm getting better at YouTube faster than I ever got better at anything when I was spreading myself thin. Because when you're only focused on one thing, you actually have the mental bandwidth to notice what's working and what's not. Like, I can see that videos where I front load the value in the first 30 seconds perform better than videos where I do a long setup, and I only notice that because I'm actually paying attention to my retention graphs instead of posting and moving on to the next platform. The second thing is that I'm not exhausted all the time anymore, which sounds obvious, but I didn't realize how much mental energy it takes to context switch between 5 different platforms until I stopped doing it. Now I just think about YouTube, what video to make next, how to improve my thumbnails, how to write better hooks. And that singular focus is actually kind of peaceful in a way that being everywhere never was. The third thing And this is still very early, so I don't know if it will hold true long term, but I'm seeing more meaningful engagement on YouTube than I ever saw on Instagram or TikTok, because the people who watch a 10-minute video are way more invested than the people who scroll past a 30-second reel. So even though my view counts might be lower than they would be if I was on TikTok, the views I'm getting actually matter more, because those people are sticking around. They are clicking the quiz link, they're joining my email list. They're not just passive scrollers. Now, I'm not saying this is working perfectly. I'm still figuring a lot of this out. I'm still learning how to make better thumbnails and write better titles and all of that. But I feel like I'm actually making progress, which is something I never felt when I was trying to do all the different platforms at once. And I think that's the real benefit of focusing. It's not that you immediately succeed, it's that you can actually see whether you're succeeding or not, because you're not diluting your results across 5 different platforms where nothing's moving fast enough to give you clear feedback. You're just watching one thing grow, and if it's not growing, you can actually figure out why and fix it, instead of throwing more content at more platforms and hoping something eventually works. So if you're thinking about doing this, picking one platform and actually committing to it, here's how I would suggest you figure out how to pick which one. First question: what type of content do you actually enjoy making? Not what you think will perform best, but what you genuinely like doing. Because if you hate making short-form vertical videos, TikTok is gonna burn you out no matter how well it works. Match the platform to your natural content style, not the other way around. The second question: where is your actual target audience spending time? And not where you wish they were, but where they actually are, actively looking for the kind of content you make. If you're teaching business strategy to corporate professionals, LinkedIn makes more sense than TikTok. If you're making comedy sketches for Gen Z, TikTok makes way more sense than LinkedIn. This isn't complicated, but people ignore it because they chase numbers instead of the right audience. Third question: which platform aligns with how you want to build your business? If you want ad revenue, YouTube. If you want brand deals, Instagram or TikTok. If you want to sell high-ticket services, mostly LinkedIn. Different platforms support different business models. So pick the one that actually helps you make money the way you want to make money. And then, once you pick, commit to it for at least 6 months. Not dabbling, not also posting on 2 other platforms just in case, but actually going all in and seeing what happens when you focus. 6 months of focused effort on one platform will teach you more and get you further than 2 years of scattered efforts across 5 platforms. So that's why I'm building on YouTube first. Because I have seen what works when you focus, because YouTube matches my strength and my audience, and because I would rather be really good at one thing than mediocre at 5 things. I will definitely let you know in 6 months if this was the right call, but so far it feels a lot better than trying to be everywhere at once. If you are trying to figure out which platform you should focus on, or if you're just feeling exhausted and burnout from trying to do too much, take that quiz I mentioned in the beginning. It will help you identify what's draining you so you can make better decisions about where to put your energy. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description. It will take 2 minutes, and we see us in the next video.